This is the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson. We are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, one dime at a time. And that means you. This is the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm Lynn Richardson, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. I absolutely believe that you have what it takes to get to the next level financially, to build wealth for yourself and your family, your community, and even the next generation. And guess what? We're going to do it together. We've been talking about the stair steps to wealth, and now I have to talk about stair step number 7, credit. Credit will either bring a smile to your face or a grimace, depending on where you are. And let me tell you, it's done both for me. I have gone through foreclosure, bankruptcy twice, a chapter 13 and a chapter 7. And I have spent my life not only rebuilding my credit, but helping others rebuild their credit and live the financially free lives that they dream of. I once had a lady with 4 bankruptcies and 2 foreclosures. That's right, 4 bankruptcies, 2 foreclosures. She came to me to get approved for a mortgage. She had been turned down everywhere. I have no idea what made her keep going. It would seem as if you had 4 bankruptcies and 2 foreclosures, you wouldn't even try. But thank God she did. I worked on her credit and her financial profile. I gave her a mortgage approval plan, a map, and she followed it. And she was able to get into her house in less than 6 months. So if she can do it, anybody can do it. And what is the it that I'm talking about? I'm talking about recover from damaged credit. So let me just start with what I believe is the golden rule of credit. Treat your creditors as you'd have your debtors treat you. Treat your creditors as you'd have your debtors treat you. Does anybody owe you money? Remember the last time one of your cousins or relatives or siblings or friends borrowed money from you and promised to pay you back on Friday? That's happened to everybody. They promised to pay you back on Friday. You probably loaned them money that you really didn't have, but you heard the sob story and you felt sorry and you gave them the money. And then Friday comes around and not only did you not hear from them, but they won't even pick up the cell phone that your $50 helped keep on. Okay? And you know other people who know this person and other people that you know have talked to this person, but they won't talk to you. Now, you don't just want your money back. You want blood. You want to kill them, right? And what do you say to everybody who'll listen? It's not the money. It's the what? Principle. It's the principle of the thing. Had the person called you and said, listen, I'm living from check to Monday. I overestimated my ability to pay you back. There's a garnishment coming out of my check. I owe child support or whatever. You'd probably say, you know what? I understand. Pay me what you can or pay me when you can. You may even decide to waive the debt altogether. That's how your creditors feel when you owe them and you don't communicate. I remember going off to college and getting, I don't know how many credit cards I had. And I was so reckless with it. I didn't just get one credit card of a category, like one MasterCard, one Visa. I had like 2 Visas, 3 MasterCards, all the department stores I could muster. I remember back in the day, there was Marshall Fields. Let me tell you, in Chicago, there was no store like Marshall Fields. It's Macy's now, but Marshall Fields, oh my goodness. And then I had Madigan's. You could go to Madigan's and get a jogging suit or prom dress or anything in between. And let me tell you, you'd come out looking so fly. Fly is an old word, I know. But I had all the credit cards. Now, of course, when the creditors started calling and saying, Lynn, can you borrow the money? I had no money. So I said, can I borrow it from you? You know, creditors start getting real nosy when they want their money, right? And we start getting real irritated. Well, you know what? I can laugh about that now, but it was not funny then. I was out of order. And because I did not honor the gift that I was given, I suffered tremendously. When I graduated from college, I had to get my furniture from Rent-A-Center. I think that first car that I bought may have broke down on the way home from the dealer. It was more than a lemon. It was a lemon and a lime. It was just terrible. And so I did not learn from that. I thought you probably thought I was going to say I learned from that. No, I didn't learn. I kept going. So eventually I get married. I have children. I'm living my life. And I want to do things for my daughter. I want her to have this beautiful nursery. I remember the first year my husband and I were together, we wanted to give everybody Christmas presents. So we charged everything. And the next year, I was still paying those credit card bills from the previous year. That is the year that I really recognized, wow, I'm doing something wrong. When it's 1996, and you're still paying off Christmas presents that nobody wanted from 1994, that's a whole nother situation. And that's the situation that I was in. So eventually I got depressed and just living life and young and in your 20s, and you really don't know what you're doing or where you're going or how you're going to get there. And one day I looked up and I said, wait a minute, let me get my life together. I decided to go and open all the mail that I had not opened, probably for months, who knows how long. And I had all these bills. I couldn't pay anybody. I didn't have enough money to pay them. So I decided to file bankruptcy. And I thought I was being responsible, and I was. I filed a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. That was a repayment plan. Now, I had the option to file a Chapter 7, which meant wiping my credit slate completely clean and starting over. But I felt like, you know what? I should at least pay these people back if I can. Now, I can't pay them all the amount of money that I owe them now, but if you give me a payment plan over time, I will stick to it. And I did. So I filed the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. My husband and I were able to purchase a home. We were able to buy a car. We were able to recover from that bankruptcy. And then here comes the Great Recession of 2008. Thought I had it together, had quit my corporate job. I'm out freelancing, coming into the entertainment industry, and then bam, the recession hits. The real estate market bursts wide open, and here I am caught again with no resources, my retirement pretty much gone, until I filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and I've recovered from it all. The number one thing I want you to understand about credit is that it's a gift. It is not an entitlement. And credit should be used to pay for absolute, positive, 100% necessities. Credit should not be used to go buy the new purse. Credit should not be used to go finance the vacation. Credit should not be used to go, buy the new pair of shoes or the latest whatever that's come out. Credit should be used, if it's going to be used, for necessities. The roof falls in. You don't have any money, but you have access to credit. You decide to buy a home. You don't have $200,000, but you decide to get a mortgage. You need a vehicle. You don't have $5,000 or $6,000 or $10,000 in cash to purchase a reliable vehicle. People will tell you to buy a car with cash, but you need to be able to buy a reliable car with cash. You cannot buy a hoopty and think you're going to get from point A to point B without some problems, okay? Hoopty is an old car that nobody really wants, and they figure out a way to make the thing work. But if you have to get to work every single day, put your children in the car, drive through a questionable neighborhood, you do not need to be in a hoopty with the thing breaking down. All right. So while there are many experts who say you should never get any credit at all, I realize that at some point in your life, it may be necessary to get credit, to get the things that you absolutely need to have. In the event that you need something, you need to have a good credit score. And credit is a function of how you pay your creditors over time. It's basically your report card for how you pay your bills. Now, there are some things that will not show up on your credit report, like some of your utilities. But don't be surprised if your gas bill shows up on your credit report. In many states and cities and municipalities, I've seen Nicor Gas, People's Gas. I've seen the gas bill show up on a credit report. So whenever you go and ask for any service, whether it be cable, a mobile phone, or whatever it is, ask, am I going to be reported to the credit bureau? TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. If you are, you want to make sure in the event of a financial, chaotic situation, when you don't have enough money to pay your bills, you must pay the bills that are on your credit report on time every single month. So if you have to choose between paying for your mobile phone, which is not on your credit report, and your gas bill, which is, you better pay that gas bill, because you do not want any 30, 60, or 90-day lates on your credit report. Here's something else that's important for you to know. You may have a credit card bill, and it's only $10 a month. And you pay your car note, it's $300 a month. You pay that car note, you skip the $10 payment. Guess what? That $10 payment that you skipped is just as important as the $300 payment. So it doesn't matter the size of the payment. What matters is that you pay it on time each and every month. And if you do that for a period of 24 months, chances are you're going to see your credit scores skyrocket into the 700s, if not the 800s, depending on the rest of your credit history. So credit is important. People say cash is king. I agree. If you can pay cash for something, do so. If you cannot afford to pay for something in cash, think not once, not twice, but think 3 times before making that purchase. But there are certainly some things in life, like a mortgage and or a car note, if it comes down to it, where you may need to access credit. And guess what? You want to have the best possible credit score so you can pay the lowest amount of interest. It's very important. This is one of the stair steps that will either keep more money in your pocket or will have your money working harder for someone else than it's working for you. This is the Millionaires Roundtable, and we will be right back.
Meet Lynn Richardson, celebrity financial expert. You might have seen Lynn on Good Morning America giving financial advice. For more than 2 decades of having leading roles in the banking and real estate sales industries, Lynn has helped clients face their money issues and achieve their personal, professional, and financial goals. Lynn is committed to using her financial expertise to benefit others. She's helped thousands of clients get out of debt, start home-based businesses, and create multiple streams of income. To learn more, please visit lynnrichardson.com, where financial dreams meet focus to generate wealth. Check out Tax Talk Thursday with Lynn Richardson as she and her special guests give tools and tips to help us better understand the state and federal tax system.
Just give us something that we can use to get those who have never understood the tax system and how it works.
We have 2 tax systems in this country. And when I say that, I always have people say, oh, sure, sir, one for rich and one for poor. That is not true. That's a myth. There's one to make you rich and there's one to take your wealth, basically.
Learn how to get greater tax returns or learn how your business write-offs can lower your taxes.
It's more about how much money you keep than it is about how much money you earn, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather earn $2 million and end up with $1 million, or would you rather earn $1.25 million and keep it all?
We are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you.
Tune in to Tax Talk Thursday on lynnrichardson.tv.
Share and subscribe. Welcome back. This is the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson, and we are talking about stair step number 7, your credit. So now that you know how important it is to pay each and every creditor that's listed on your credit report, let me tell you something about bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world. Let me repeat. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world. If you are facing judgments, garnishments, foreclosure, repossessions, or collections, then bankruptcy might just be the recourse that you need to avoid a catastrophe. If someone is coming to repossess your car, after they take the car, they're still going to want the money. And if you could not afford to pay for the car when you had the car, you certainly cannot afford to pay for the car after it's already gone. If you do not pay for the vehicle after it's repossessed, then the creditor may very well take you to court, get a judgment against you, and then garnish your wages. So if you are being threatened with repossession, or if your car payment is more than 60 days late, they may not threaten you with repossession. They may just come and take the car. And you may not have the option to repay the past due amount and get the car back. If you are facing repossession, you need to contact a bankruptcy attorney, because bankruptcy will stop any and all collection activity, judgment activity, repossession, and foreclosure activity. And it will put a halt on any of those things that are taking place so that you have time to think and recover. True story. A very good friend of mine, God rest her soul, contacted me because she had excellent credit. She had lost her job, and she did what many people do. She was borrowing from one credit card to pay the other credit cards, and then borrowing from another credit card to pay the other credit cards, and then borrowing from another credit card to pay her rent and all her other expenses. And then the cycle just kept going on and on and on. She called me one year and she said, Lynn, this month is the last month I will be able to juggle. Next month, my payments are going to be late. She filed bankruptcy. All of her creditors were eliminated. All of her debt was eliminated. Her credit score went up. You see, the bankruptcy does not cause a decrease in your credit score. Now, it may cause a pause on some of the activities that you may want to participate in, like buying a home. It may be the cause for a potential landlord to ask additional questions. But the bankruptcy itself does not decrease the credit score. It's the activity that led to the bankruptcy. Because by the time most people file bankruptcy was 62 stages ago. They were broke 8 months ago, 9 months ago, a year ago. And now, after they have taken all of their money from savings, refinanced their house, gone through their emergency fund, and now that they have zero left, that's when they file bankruptcy. But they've already damaged their credit. And so bankruptcy simply stops any further collection activity and puts the person in a position where they don't have to figure out how they're going to pay for bills that they cannot afford. But wealthy people file bankruptcy when they see the downfall coming. Wealthy people will say, my cash flow is going to be down to $500 million in the next 6 months, and then we're going to bleed dry quickly. So we're going to reorganize now because we have far more creditors than we have cash flow in the foreseeable future. So this is one of the reasons why you want to become a master of your own money. You want to be in control. And let me tell you something about money. Not only will money work harder for you than you can ever work for it, money wants to obey you. But you must obey the laws of mathematics, which say 1 + 1 = 2. And if your stuff adds up to 10, you've heard me say many times, it will never, ever get into 2. So when you're dealing with your credit, you want to honor and communicate with your creditors as you'd have your debtors communicate with you. You want to remember that credit is a gift. It is not a right. It should be used for things that are absolutely necessary and not to fulfill a bunch of fantasies and wants. And if you get in trouble, you want to be ahead of the game and not behind the game. So let's take a couple of calls, because I know, or at least as many calls as we could take during this segment, because I know there are lots of questions about credit. Let's see who we have.
Hi, Dr. Lynn. This is Jatan. My
Hi.
question is, in terms of rebuilding financially, what would be your best advice for those coming out of bankruptcy?
Excellent question. For those coming out of bankruptcy, my absolute first and best piece of advice is to join the 21 Days to Financial Freedom. Address the mindset, the habits, the behaviors, and the expectations that led to the bankruptcy in the first place. Now, of course, There are circumstances that are beyond our control that may lead to bankruptcy. For example, loss of income due to a divorce, loss of income due to a medical issue, other medical bills and expenses, some kind of accident that was unavoidable. In many cases, however, bankruptcy is the result of either our mindset or, I would say, our money manners, our behavior, our attitude, the way we deal with money, whether we're tracking every single penny. You know, some say money talks, but I say money walks away from you quietly and you don't know where it went. It would be nice if a dollar said, I'm about to bounce up out of here. And when you come to find me, I will not be there. But money does not talk. It actually walks very, very quietly. And what we must do is track our spending. So the very first thing I'd recommend if you are out of bankruptcy is to get a financial education. Enroll in a program like the 21 Days to Financial Freedom at lynnrichardson.com. Ensure that you are monitoring your spending, tracking every single dollar, creating a budget for yourself, as I talked about in stair step number 1. Live by the 10-10-30-50. The first 10% you tithe, the next 10% save, 30% cash in your pocket for incidentals, and the remaining 50% in your checking account for your bills. If you cannot afford your bills, get rid of some of the things that are creating bills. Get rid of the extracurricular activity. Get rid of the apartment that's too costly. Get rid of the car that's too expensive. You see, we don't have to stay in debt. What we have to do is disconnect from the things we are emotionally attached to. If you are coming out of bankruptcy, the single most important thing that you can remember is that there is life after bankruptcy. And credit can be your friend. Credit does not have to be something that you are afraid of. Credit does not have to be something that controls your life negatively. This is the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. We are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, one dime at a time. And I'll see you next time.
Now stay tuned for a sneak peek of Wealthy Wednesday on lynnrichardson.tv. People straight on that.
Let me tell you, so for those who don't know the 10-10-30-50, first of all, you can get all the details in my book. Don't forget to subscribe and share, all that stuff. But in Living Check to Monday, I broke it down because I was making $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a month. I was still broke. And so I started actually following the rules, which are the truth. So the first 10% you tithe, the next 10% you save,
Yes.
the 30% is cash in your pocket. Cash for your incidentals. Like groceries, gas, hair, nails. If it doesn't fit, get rid of it. And then the remaining 50% stays in your checking account for your bills. If you have more than enough money, that's not a license to go buy a lot of stuff. You want to get rid of your debt. If you don't have enough money, then you have to subtract.
And I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I think people can appreciate, especially, I've been with you many times when you've spoken live to, thousands of women. And when they hear that breakdown of 10-10-30-50 and you go into each and why it's important, it feels like they just ready to get loose. It's like, oh my goodness, this is what I've been doing.
People are free. So if you don't put your appointments in your calendar, you'll be one place like, oh, I forgot about that. So we just call it a schedule. We keep it clean. We keep it easy. So I want everybody on this Wealthy Wednesday, Light said it, people hear it and they're like, oh my God, that's freedom. This is a freedom series. This is about you going to the next level. The 10-10-30-50, the first 10% you tithe, the next 10% you save, 30% cash, and it's to help you avoid a spending addiction, which is what you have when you go to the grocery store for toothpaste and you walk out with $179.47 for the stuff you don't need. We're going to talk about that on another Wealthy Wednesday.
Share and subscribe.
Meet Lynn Richardson, author, entertainment executive, TV personality, and celebrity financial coach.
Please say hello to financial expert, my girl, Lynn Richardson. My buddy, finance expert, Lynn Richardson.
Hey, everybody.
Why do you need Lynn's help?
She uses her quick wit and humorous presentation style to help others face their issues and achieve their personal and professional goals, as well as spiritual harmony.
So I tell our sisters, you go to a rack, $500 purse. Self, do you usually have $500? $20 purse. Self, that's usually how much you got. That's the purse that you get off the rollback rack.
In this current economic crisis due to COVID-19, Sean Diddy Combs invited Lynn Richardson to contribute to his new website, OurFairShare.com, in which Lynn explains the Paycheck Protection Plan that assists small businesses in gaining access to U.S. government funds. Over the last 20 years, Lynn used her financial expertise to create a curriculum of books and online classes to help clients achieve financial freedom. Lynn teaches clients how to get out of credit card debt, shows them how to start a home-based business, and to create multiple streams of income. Lynn Richardson is a celebrity financial coach and founder of the 700 Credit Club. Lynn wants to talk to you about one of the biggest issues that can separate you from your financial freedom, and that's your credit score. Lynn overcame 2 bankruptcies and foreclosure, but with this plan, her score is now over 700, and she's inviting you to join the 700 Credit Club today. Here you'll learn to build your credit and have the financial freedom you dreamed of. For more information about the 700 Credit Club, please visit lynnrichardson.com.
Hi, I'm Lynn Richardson, and I'm excited about teaching you how to build multiple streams of income. But more importantly, I'm excited about teaching you why. I'm a financial expert, but I think there are some things you need to know about me that you'll never read in a newspaper or magazine or see anywhere. I was born and raised in Chicago. As a matter of fact, my grandmother, who passed away almost at the age of 98, she was 75 years old, cleaning homes for wealthy people, putting me through college. I grew up in the projects. I knew we weren't rich, but I didn't feel poor. When I needed money for something, I'd say, Grandma, I need money for a field trip. She'd tell me to go look in the room, on top of the shelf, inside the box, inside my pocketbook, inside the zipper, wrapped up in a piece of paper towel. It's $20. She'd hide the money like 20,000 times. So when I went off to college, I didn't know a lot about money. What I knew is I needed access to it. So I made the mistake that many people make. I went into a room, multiple credit card distributors were there. I didn't get one credit card. I decided to get one of each. Oh boy, that didn't go over well for me. When the creditor started calling and saying, Lynn, can you borrow the money? I said, can I borrow it from you? I had all kind of funny answers, but when I got out into the real world, it wasn't funny anymore. My credit was jacked up. My first furniture came from Rent-A-Center. And I knew right then and there that I was entering the world with a bad relationship with money. Fast forward a few years later, I'm married, 3 children. My career is excellent. I'm making money, but guess what? I was living a lie. I was living check to Monday. You see, check to check is a blessing. That means you get paid by Friday and by the next payday you're broke. But check to Monday is a whole different game. You get paid on Friday, you kick it on the weekend, you pay on your past due bills, and by Monday you're broke. And I was living that lifestyle making $20, $30, $50, $60, $80,000 a month. Not a year, a month. So I learned this. More money doesn't solve a money problem. If it did, millionaires wouldn't go bankrupt. If more money could solve a money problem, you'd never have a bankrupt millionaire. You'd never have a bankrupt billionaire. So what do you have to do to build wealth? You have to spend less money. We're going to talk about that in another class. But you also have to get more money. And most importantly, you have to learn how to get your money back. Why? Because the more money you make, the more the IRS will take. So you want to learn the rules of the game and play the game by the rules, and that's exactly what we're going to do, building multiple streams of income. So most of us were taught to go to school, get a good education, and get a good job. Sounds like good advice, right? Wrong. We should go to school and get the basics, get the education that we need for whatever it is we're going to do in our lives, but we should learn how to create jobs. Why? Because one stream of income is hazardous to your wealth. Not even a government job is safe. So what do you do about that? Well, first of all, you have to get a tax education. I want you to understand this. We operate on 2 systems, not rich versus poor, not black versus white, not educated versus uneducated.
It's employees versus businesses. The first system for employees says if you make $100,000 a year and you have no tax write-offs on Schedule C of your 1040 tax return,